Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, dear students, and welcome to our science class. So today is Sunday, and the date is the 7th of February 2021. We were talking about the physical properties. And yes, girls, as you said, physical properties can be the size, the color, the taste, the odor, texture, the shape, and etc. I heard from you, and I was happy that you are remembering the lesson and you know all about it. Now, before I start, I want to ask you only one question. Now, if we are talking about the mass of matter, we said that any matter is that takes up space and has a mass. And we said we can measure mass using a pan balance or, let's see, yes, using a pan balance. And the unit to measure mass, what is it? Who can tell me what is the unit to measure mass? Do I measure mass with centimeters, liters, or what? Yes, Yariana.
We measure it by mass.
Okay, how do you measure mass? With what? With centimeters, liters,
No.
inches?
With balance.
Okay, this is the tool you are using, but we need a unit. When I put an apple on this pan balance,
Kilometer.
I'm gonna say that
Kilogram.
this apple
Kilogram.
weighed 90 what?
Kilogram.
Excellent
Kilogram.
kilograms, excellent kilograms or grams. Yes, I can use the grams and kilograms. Okay, we only measure mass with grams, but how can we, a mass, we can measure a mass if it's a solid. What about a liquid? How can you measure a liquid water? You're gonna use what? Yes, Yelian. To measure a liquid.
I guess volume.
Excellent, the volume. So whenever you are measuring a liquid stuff, definitely you are going to use the volume. But before using a volume, what is a volume? A volume is how much space an object takes up. So when we talk about volume, we are talking about the space of something. Okay, we are talking about the space. Unlike the mass is the amount of matter in an object. See, the mass is the amount of matter. The amount of matter. How much matter do you have inside this object? How much apple do you have? But the volume is how much space that this apple can take up or this ball can take up. And we usually use it inside water or liquid stuff. So let's underline together, please. 356, open to page 356.
But miss,
Yes,
can I tell you
Yariana?
something? What if we put something in the water? It's gonna sink or float?
Not yet, Yariana, not yet. We will talk about it, not yet. All right, so the volume is how much space an object takes up. Look at the ball inside this water. In the first place, they poured the same amount of water. It's 356. 356. Can you hear me? 356.
Yes.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, miss.
Okay, it's page 356.
Miss, I can't hear you. Miss, I can't hear you. Oh, no, I can hear. I hear what you say. But Leon don't, I think.
Liana or Leah, it's page 356, okay?
Okay.
Very good. So the volume is how much space an object takes up. Look at these two beakers. These two beakers, the left side, you can see it has more. You think it has more liquid inside, but the truth is they have the same amount of liquid. The one different thing is that when we put an orange or a ball inside this liquid, it took up more space to fill the glass. So once it takes up more space, we're gonna see how much space this ball took. So what we are gonna do is we're gonna say the volume of water and the orange over here, maybe it's 4. Let's say it's 4. And the volume of water without the orange is 2. So what is the volume of this orange? What do you think? Let's do it over here. If the volume of water is 2 liter, okay? When I put the orange inside, it's raised up to 4 liter. All right. Now, what is the volume of this orange? We're gonna subtract. How? We're gonna, a bigger number is number 4. The volume with water and the orange. Then we will minus or take away from it the volume of water alone without the orange is 2. So 4 minus 2 equals the volume of orange. How much is the volume of orange? Yes, Yalayan.
2.
Excellent. 2 what? 2 liters or milliliters. This is how we measure the volume. We use the unit milliliter or liter. Do I use kilograms? No. Do I use grams? No. I use liters and milliliters for liquid stuff. So now we measured the space that this orange take up inside a liquid water. Also, we can measure how much water that takes up inside this beaker. This is why we measure volume. Okay, girls? Agree? Do you have any question about?
Miss, I don't understand.
Okay, we're talking about the volume. Just like the mass. Mass is when you are asking about the amount of something. How much apple do you have? I have 5 grams of apples. All right, Lynn? But when I talk about volume, I'm asking
Yes.
how much space that this orange can take up. The space, I'm measuring the space. So the space that this orange will take is 2 milliliter inside a water. See? I'm talking about the space. Do you understand, Yaleen?
Oh, yeah.
Very good. We have something called the displacement. What is the displacement? Maria, are you talking to me?
No, sorry.
It's okay, it's fine. Now, we have something.
To ask you a question.
Oh, you were asking a question?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, Maria.
I wanted to ask you, why when they put the water, when they put the orange, the water, it became more?
Because the orange took more space. The orange needs space to have when it's inside. You know, an orange is a matter. Because it's a matter, it has weight and it takes up space. So when it has weight and takes up space, definitely when you put it in something, it will have more space than this water.
Ice in water.
Even when you put, yes, because ice is a matter and liquid water is a matter. Both of them, they have their own space. They need their own room. They need their own area to fit in. That's
I
why,
understand.
yes, that's why they
Okay.
become bigger or larger. And we learned how to calculate the mass, or sorry, the volume of this orange. You will take the bigger number, both of them, the volume of water and the orange, and then you will take away the orange and see what is the volume of the water alone, and then you will have the volume of your orange.
But does the water become more, or is it just rising, or is it the same
It is
amount as it
just
was?
rising. Excellent. Yes, this is a very good
I thought it
question.
becomes more.
It depends. If you are putting ice, so it is the same. Ice and water, it is only a change of matter. You are having the same matter together, so it will become more. But when you add an orange, totally different matter to water, to liquid water, the water will just rise up. Once you take away the orange, the water volume will become the original volume. It will not increase, not decrease, nothing happens to it. Deal?
All right, thank
You're welcome. I'm happy to answer all of your questions, of course. Now let's see what is a displacement. Yes, Yelayan. Yes, Yelayan.
I have a question.
Yes, Yelayan.
Does this trick, like this thing, does it only use liquid to happen? Like, only if we put inside a ball, a solid, inside liquid, does it also happen if we put like, like, use another matter, like gas? Does it happen, or only this happens with liquid?
Okay, it can happen with any other matter, okay? Volume is about taking up space. Whenever you are measuring the space that something fills inside something, definitely you are talking about volume. Look at these cubes. When I ask you about the volume of these cubes, you are going to tell me how much space that they take to fill in any matter, okay? Or to fill in any area. So volume is about space more than liquid or solid or whatever. All right? So but usually we measure liquid with volume. Cannot say I have 10 kilograms of water. It doesn't make any sense. You can say I have 10 liters of water, and liter, it is for volume. So I only can measure the space that water takes up. I can measure the mass, also the weight, but it's not common. You don't say I have 10 kilogram. No, do you know what you will say? I have 9 grams of water bottles. See, you're gonna use, yes, you are gonna measure the water bottle, not the water inside. The water bottles are 9 grams. Why they are 9 grams? Because they have 20 liters inside them. See? This is the amount of matter in an object, but the space that something takes up is volume. Now, let me tell you about displacement. Something called displacement. Look at this dog in this bucket, all right? The dog in this tub takes up space. Definitely, it will take up space. To make room for him, water was pushed out of the tub. Do you get it? The tub was very full, all right? The tub was very full. Once I put inside the dog, what happens? The space that this dog take away, it pushed all the water outside. Not all the water, only the water it fills that the dog space. See? So the more water, or let's say the unused water, it pushed away out of the top because this dog took the space, took the room. It needs his room to fill in the top. So The water that does not have room enough, it will go out of the top, and this amount of water, we call it the displacement. Okay? So what is the displacement? The displacement is the water that was pushed out of the top. Do you understand, Rayana?
No.
Okay. Now, if this top was very full, okay, full of water, and I wanted to put inside the dog, when you put the dog inside, what will happen to the water? It will rise up and then it will be pushed out. Why?
Because the dog inside the tub, so.
Excellent, because the dog needs a room to fit inside the top. So whatever is more, whatever is there, whatever water we have more, it will be pushed away to make room for the dog. And this water that is pushed away, we call it displacement. What do we call it?
Displacement.
Excellent, excellent, very good. So you know all about volume and how to measure volume. We have one more thing to talk about today. We call it density. What's a density? A density, whenever you are thinking about something, does it sink or float? Sink or float? Look at the sand over here. Sand is definitely gonna sink, but foam is going to float. Why they are different? Why the sand went down to the bottom and the foam went up the surface? Yes, Yalayan. Yes, Yalayan.
Because the sand is heavier than the foam.
Excellent, very good. Heavier, all right. And the foam is lighter.
Light.
Okay, heavy and light, when they are flowing and not floating, we call it density. So what is really density? Who can read for me? Density is what? Yes, Yaline, can you read for me?
Okay. Where was that? Oh, there. I opened it. Density is a physical property of matter. It tells how much space, volume, a certain amount mass of matter takes up.
Excellent.
In other words, density is the amount of matter present in the central volume of substance.
Excellent. So after learning a mass and a volume, both of them, they make density. Mass and volume together, they make density. It tells how much space in a certain amount. How much space does the sand will take inside something, inside the matter of water, or how much space the foam will take inside the volume, the matter, which is water. So density is the amount of matter present in a certain volume of substance. Not only sand and foam can be different in density, also pumic and obsidian, there are two different rocks. See, two different metal, let's say. They are both are rocks, but they have different properties. One rock is more dense than the other one. Why? One of them is more heavier than the other, and one of them is what? Very heavy enough to sink down to the bottom. So whenever you are talking about if it's floating or sinking, you are talking about what? Density. Things are floating. They are less dense or more dense, Yalayan? Things are floating.
They are less dense.
excellent. The part that is floating is less dense. They don't have a lot of density. But if they are sinking, they definitely have the weight or the density is greater. All right. Look at the fishing tool. This is a fishing tool. Part of it will float and the other part will sink. Even if it's bigger, sometimes it can have less dense. If it's less dense, it will float definitely. But metal is heavier. Even if it's smaller, it is not less dense. It is greater in density. That's why it sinks down, see? But the other one over here, it's made of plastic, I think. And this part made of plastic will definitely float. Plastic is heavier than metal. That's why it will float and metal will sink. So when
Heavier or lighter?
Yes, heavier and lighter, excellent. But when I talk about heavier or lighter, I'm not talking about bigger or smaller. We're talking about density. So if it's dense, less dense, or greater dense. All right? Do you have any question about density? Yes, Yalayan?
I have a question. Do you mean that like plastic is it heavier than metal?
No. Look at this tool, the fishing tool. The hook is metal, made of metal, but the up on top, the bottom over here, top bottom, it's made of plastic. It looks bigger, but it is lighter. The metal is heavier. You can try it at home. Try to hold something made of plastic in your right hand, and in your left hand, try to hold something made out of metal, and tell me which one is heavier. You can try it. You can also have a big bowl of water and you can throw stuff. You can see which one have more dense and which one has less dense. If it's float, definitely the density is low. If it's sinking down the bottom, it is definitely having greater density. Okay, what I want from you is if you are trying this at home, please, I want you to record it for me. It's going to be very, very, very interesting thing to do. I wish we are at school so we can do it all together, but I bet you can do it, guys. You can do it, guys. All right, girls, that's it for today. It's your break time. I hope you enjoy it and enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you definitely tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye, girls.
Bye. We love you, man.
I love you
Hi,
more,
teacher.
grade 4. I love you more.